Okay, I'm doing this until thingy happens. Okay, this is a different way, so tell me if it works better. If not, it's fine. But we're continuing this. Okay. Oh, also I have to set a timer. Otherwise, because the way I'm doing this, the thingy will reset. Okay. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other, with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Let me just double check that this is going. Yes, it is going. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Amazing Alexander says, feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander. In the center of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had three long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read The Amazing Alexander in a glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on a sign? Poe hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the Amazing Alexander began to shuffle a deck of cards. I want to see the show. I do. Cove, Cove glanced back at the man. He then briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before running them to back place. That was a sentence. Okay, he may not be impressed, but at least he didn't dish you. You grinned, waving for him to follow you as you raced back to stand with the crowd. With that, it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a four of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a couple of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Whoa. Dot dot dot. The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Nothing. Tell me, or I backed away. I feel like that would be nothing would be said with an attitude like nothing, and I wouldn't have an attitude. But I wouldn't say tell me either. I'd probably be like, you know what? I'd be like, what? I'd be like, what? You know, like that. Like, okay, I'm just gonna go with tell me. This had to be going somewhere and you needed to find out. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer. It was great. You felt a tug, and he pulled the four of diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You knew that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he'd done it. There was a light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. Look at how, what is it? He's so unimpressed. He really doesn't care. I'm sorry for dragging. I'm sorry. I didn't. I feel like I forced him to do this. He'll get out. Okay, wait. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. And one for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you are really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. Dot, dot, dot. My uncle does this every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with cards. You know, okay. So I went to Disney World that one time, and we went to the boardwalk, and right underneath, like the balcony thing, there was this guy who's constantly doing card tricks, and like this thing with his tongue, he would do like he had like a mouse trap and he put it up to his tongue, and then when it like snaps, it took off his tongue, but it was a fake tongue, but it freaked out everyone. So every night, we would sit from the balcony and watch him perform his tricks, and he would wave up at us. I thought that was cool. Okay, but this is what that reminds me of. Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. Maybe it wasn't so special. Yeah, Cove's just ruining the fun. At least you had a fun time. You wonder if Cove's whole thing was. Yeah, I would say at least I had. Be positive. We like positivity. Ish. You saw a magic trick and you got a great balloon. That was more than enough to make a worthwhile event. You thought that if you what? You thought that if you could find a card to practice with, maybe you could make it disappear too. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. You picked. Ooh. It didn't say anything about Rubik's Cube or Magic 8 Ball. I take the kaleidoscope. Oh, Cove, check this out. You shifted your balloon string to your other hand so you could bring the mysterious tunnel to your eye. A whole palette of colors appeared right in front of you, spinning into all the kinds of different shapes as you twisted the end of the tube. Cove picked up one and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Did you have places like this in your old town? Are you having fun? Yeah. Conversation. Oh, he's up there now. Okay. Cove blinked at you for a moment and you wondered if you shouldn't have asked. You knew how much he missed that place. Not really. You nodded in understanding, looking over at the stalls nearby. Whoa, what's that? While Cove looked at the sand pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid out on it. They were sewn in the shape of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read "Handmade," standing proudly in front. There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, and a turtle. Ooh, wait, no, let me get a look at the... I kind of want the crab. Where's the shark? Oh, there's a shark. Ooh, shark or... Crab or... Actually, crab or dolphin. I do crab. Your hand stopped on the crab. Claws raised and a tiny smile on its face. It had big eyes and little legs, and the fabric was smooth when you picked it up. You had seen a few crabs at the beach before, though they usually scuttled away before you got the chance to look at them closely. You liked the idea of having a crab all of your own, even if it was just a soft animal. You were instantly enamored. That's a fun, fancy word. Checking the price, though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than a $5 bill to your name. Is that what you want, huh? Oh, it's $6. I didn't bring any money. It's fine. I would... Depends how I think of Cove. If Cove and I are, like, close friends at this point, then I'd be like, really? Really? You know, but, otherwise I'd be like, are you sure? I'll say, are you sure? Cove took the keychain from your hands, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for a little something about himself. I was always gonna get you something. I already got the money for it. Aww. You beamed, excited at the idea of displaying the keychain somewhere in your room. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you too. You had to remember to thank him next time you saw him. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey Cove, yeah? Why is your dad always stealing your money? Keychain. No, thanks for the keychain. Don't worry about it. Cove looked further down the street, where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all of this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah, with $10? Don't we still have $10? We bought the pail, we bought the keychain, How are we getting all this stuff with $10? Don't we only... Yeah, we only have $10. Oh, look, he's happy. Aw, when he's happy, I'm happy. Where's Shiloh? I miss that kid. Shiloh was the best. He's always happy. Okay. You two wandered around a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. I was gonna say, that is one food I can eat. But I can't have gluten. Cove got something sweet instead of me. And you... Okay. So if I were... A pretzel with sprinkles? Does that exist? Okay, so there's... I could... No. I feel like I would... A pretzel with chocolate? Is that normal? Okay. There's a plain one with cheese. I guess you could... I can't eat any of these, so like, what the heck? Either these two. No, we're not gonna get the same. That's pathetic. Um, let's go with sprinkles. You know, no, yeah, let's go with sprinkles. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed you your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. It had vanilla coating and 100 colored sprinkles on it, just the way you liked it. Your mom didn't like you to eat too much sugar, but this was a special occasion. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are going to make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around a string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know. Why is he sad? Did I read that and it just went through my head? I think I did. I don't know. I don't know why he's sad. Okay. What? Also, why is his eyebrows always so wiggly? After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it would get sandy, you tugged a balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand and tied it to a delicate bow around his wrist. Oh. Oh. Oh, now he's happy. Good. You're happy. I'm happy. Mikasa. Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled satisfied. There, now do mine. He repeated the ritual. Oh. Oh, he's concentrated. That's the concentrated face. That's mine. No, no, mine isn't. Mine's more like. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have an entire video with me on anesthesia, and that is the entire like the. Anytime I was thinking, that was the face I was making. So that is my thinking face. He repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast, restricting his fingers on one hand and the string already tangled around the other. Got it. The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat. Doughy? Why did I say doughy? Doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. Dot dot dot. After a time you finished your pretzel. You were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. Okay, can we talk about the background really quick? I was kind of, it's really pretty. Like, I would love this. Could you imagine, like, okay, just any form of road with, like, a brick on it just automatically makes me happy. I don't know why, but if it's a brick road, ow. It just makes me happy. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned your face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining part of his pretzel on the wrapper and he was gripping his dolphin too. My name is Merryweather. Splash star in movies. Cherry, she's an actual alien. Sam, no, Merryweather Princess, that sounds like me. He wears a crown made of seaweed, and all his friends are merfolk. Every now and then, he'll make friends with a kid and let them ride on his back. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real dolphin like Merryweather. What's yours? Hope considered the question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation. It's, with a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. No! Oh no! Oh no, he got depressed again. Why is he always sad? For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw a tear start to glisten. Gina, it's dead. No. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're a kid, okay, and you have a balloon, and you're emotionally attached to that balloon, and it like flies away or pops or something, your kid isn't gonna like replace the balloon because it was emotionally attached to the balloon. You know? I know. Because that happened to me at Disney World. I had a purple one with the it was like it had the Mickey Mouse in it and then it was like white, not white, clear around it. And we couldn't take it on the plane with us, so we had to pop. The two options were either pop it and take it with us, or give it to a kid. And I had to give it to a kid, and oh my god, the emotional. Oh, it's awful. Um. Okay, no, these are all awful options. I would comfort him. I'd be like, okay, um, you are. Oh, I feel like that guy can't take jokes. He's way too sad. I offered to find Alexander. No. I offered to get Cove. I guess that's comforting in some way. You look at Cove, then up to your balloon, bobbing gently in the air above you. You can have mine. That was better than letting him cry more. Cove sniffled, glancing up at the balloon, then back at you. No, it's yours. I don't want to take it from you. It's okay, really. Cove shook his head. Even though it wasn't your fault, you still felt bad. Still, the offer seemed to lift Cove's spirits, and that was good. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to the close. It had been a good one, except for the sad final note. Okay, so that was one. That was about 15 minutes. So here's the next one. One sweltering summer day, you were in your living room with Cove, listening to the sounds of the birds chattering outside the window while you lay across the rug on the floor. Cove's dad had dropped him off earlier, and your moms had left the two of you along with Lizzie to play amongst yourselves. It had been too hot to go outside in the afternoon, at least according to your mommy. So your sister was starting to get impatient waiting for her golf class that evening. The three of you had trouble finding something fun to do. The beach and the playground were off limits, and you felt that it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. Then suddenly, a light came to Lizzie's big brown eyes, and her smile spread wide across her face. Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy. Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. They don't play outdoors anyways. They're always inside and telling everybody that they're too busy to play. Why? I said why, and it'll be fun. Duh. What do they do inside that we won't, besides use the phone a lot? Excluding a small huff, Lizzie decides to ignore Cove. Gina, what do you think? Do you want to? I'll say I don't know. Please, Gina, when have I ever had that idea? Whenever we play with you. I wasn't asking. I'll keep hesitating. You look down at your hand, still unsure. Apparently tired of waiting for you to make up your mind, Lizzie sighed. Fine, go play over there, Gina. You flinched from her raised voice. It definitely wouldn't be fun to join now. Me and Cove will do it ourselves. It's decided. He looked back at you regretfully. I guess. Now go on. Nodding goodbye to the both of them, you trailed off to find something else to do. Oops, what happened? Trailed something else to do. Like you promised, Cove stayed put with Lizzie for the next couple hours while you... Oh, no, I don't get to spend time with the two of them, though. I thought he didn't want to either. So we all three would have ended up doing something. I'll build a fort. You could hear them talking as you raced to your room to take the pillows and blankets from your bed. When you went back downstairs, you also took a couple of cushions from the sofa and found a spare blanket in the hallway cupboard. The dining room was a perfect place for building a fort. When you pulled out the chairs and covered them with blankets, you had plenty of room beneath the table to do whatever you wanted. You just scattered the pillows outside the fort to make it more comfortable when you heard Lizzie and Cove's voices again, and this time they were much louder. Curious about what was happening, you craned your neck to hear them better. At first, you mostly only picked up on Lizzie's high-pitched shouting, giving orders, telling Cove what to do, yelling about sports and the Olympics. That was pretty typical for Lizzie, so there was nothing new there. But then you started hearing Cove more and more as time went on. It sounded like they weren't having a very good time. No, I'd go see what's going on. You abandoned your pillow fort to go check what's happening with them. Why are you guys shouting so much? From up close, you could see that your sister was red-faced and pouting, while Cove mostly looked confused. Neither of one paid mind. I clicked it too fast again. Shut up, Cove. You're being unreasonable. I don't get what you want. This game doesn't make sense. It does. You have to be realistic. I said that, but you're not. Their yelling was noisy. Your parents were probably going to get mad, or maybe the neighbors. You had no idea what to do to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them would just keep working each other up as long as they could. Had the two of them been arguing like this the whole time? Thankfully, a greeting card angel mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed to her, hanging onto the hem of her skirt and poking out her tongue at Cove. Lizzie, Gina, it's time to get ready to go. Isn't this our house? Oh, it is. Okay. Sorry you have to leave already, Cove. Their mommy said that she'll walk you home so you won't be left in the cold. Sorry, I got text from Fiona. Cove was still glaring at Lizzie. His face flushed red with anger. I can go by myself, but bye, Gina. Ooh, that was kind of dramatic, young man. There was still a harsh edge to the brief farewell, but you knew it wasn't you he was mad at. Without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove up and stalked out of the room, shoulders drawn tight. Okay? Worried Mom turned down to look at you and Lizzie. You two were playing nice with our new friend, weren't you? I told the truth. No, Lizzie and Cove kept yelling at each other. They wouldn't stop fighting about everything. Your sister's jaw dropped, looking betrayed as Mom put both hands on her hips. Elizabeth! Oh, her name's Elizabeth? I thought it was just Lizzie. Oh, sorry. I'll respond to you in a second, Fiona, I promise. I told you to be kind to him. He's having a hard time right now. Lizzie's mouth closed back up, replaced by a tiny frown. I know, I tried, but he was no buts. We both know you can show someone a great time when you put your mind to it. We're going to apologize to Cove and his dad over the phone when he gets home from work tonight. Lizzie hung her head, dragging a foot across the ground in front of her. Okay, Mom. Good girl. You caught pieces of Lizzie sulking to herself about how it was his fault too, but it was over. All right, we better get a move on. Let's go, kids. Ooh, sorry, Nolani? Noelani? No, I'm gonna go with Nolani? That sound is more right. I'm sorry. Is that Hawaiian? I should know. My cousins are Hawaiian. I feel. Let's go, kids. Nolani. Where did you leave the car keys? Mom hustled you all out the door, and you noticed during the car ride to golf practice that Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first one to request which music to listen to in the car, but she didn't say a thing. Her parents noticed she wasn't in the mood to be bothered. They gave her space, and Mommy just asked you what you'd like to listen to. You picked your favorite song, Always Made a Car Ride More Fun. You chose a soundtrack to a cool movie you saw a couple months ago. You chose a song you knew Lizzie liked. Oh, yes, I would choose a song that she liked because if I chose my favorite song and started singing to it, I feel like Lizzie would get mad at me for being loud when she clearly doesn't want to be bothered. So let's choose one she likes, see if she was happy. You were happy to see it brightened her up right away, and she started singing along with you. Soon enough, her bad mood was in the past. When the car ride was over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hit things with other girls her age. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell she really liked it, so you sat with your moms and tried to puzzle it out. It was nice sitting outside after being cooped up in the house all day, and you stretched out your legs to let the last few minutes of sun warm your skin. When the sun was already out of sight, dipping behind the horizon, you all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your moms took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant you had all been going to ever since you could remember. Earlier, you'd only caught the tail end of your sister's argument with Cove, but you could kind of tell that this helped Lizzie be less angry. Her ride home was quiet, only with the radio providing escape from silence. Lizzie had been in better spirits now, but the closer you got to your neighborhood, the more she wiggled in her seat and frowned out the window. She knew what was coming when you all got back home. Clearly, she was dreading it. Soon enough, Mom was turning onto your street, then reversing into the driveway. Once she cut the ignition, it was dead silent. No one spoke, only unbuckled their seatbelts and opened their doors. Lizzie was the last one out. Once everyone was inside and done taking off their shoes, she propped her hands on her hips. Now then, Mr. Holden's car is in his driveway, so he should be back from work. That's good news, isn't it, Elizabeth? You and Cove can hash things out before day's done. Lizzie didn't complain or put up a fight. Her head ducked so she didn't have to meet anyone's eyes. She nodded once. Good, let's move this to the kitchen. He barely moved. It just went to an inch to the left. Mom went over to the house phone, the rest of you following behind her. Mommy put a gentle hand on Lizzie's shoulders as they walked side by side. You watched them from the back. This was only happening because you told on Lizzie. You felt a little guilty. Yeah. I would be in the middle of these. It was her fault for doing it, but at the same time I would feel guilty. So I'm gonna go with this one because I feel like that's a good mix of these two. Being a telltale didn't feel good, and you wouldn't want someone else to tell your moms everything you did. Still, your mom had asked directly, and you wanted to be a liar even less. The four of you stood stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze on her feet. You remember the number for the Cove's house, don't you, honey? Lizzie jerked her head in another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she stepped forward and began to dial. Do I get to dial? I don't think so. Mom reached over and pressed the button on the base. Suddenly, you could hear the phone reading. She turned it on speaker. The phone rang a couple of times and stopped. Mr. Holden's warm voice came through on the other end. Evening, Holden residence. Lizzie looked over at Mommy, unsure. She nodded encouragingly. Hi, Mr. Holden. It's, Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove? Lizzie
Absolutely.
Lena, what a surprise. Well, of course you can. Say hey to the boy. He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely didn't mean it when he said it was a surprise. You thought hard, and you were sure that your sister had never called Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Mr. Holden or Lizzie could say anything more. Her arms were crossed over her chest, her lips pursed. Hi, Cliff. Nailing Nolani, Gina, and I are here too. Nolani. Okay, good evening. We're sorry to bother you so late. I'd say hi. Hey, Mr. Holden. The gang's all there, huh? Is something the matter? His voice grew a bit concerned. Mommy was quick to reassure him. No, well, yes, but it's gonna be okay. Lizzie and Cove got in a bit of a fight today. We were hoping that the two of them could talk and make up. Is this a good time for you and
What?
Cove? A fight? What? Cove didn't tell me anything about that when I came home. It does explain the funk he's been in tonight. He chuckled lightly. Despite that, it didn't seem like he really thought it was funny.
Um,
Anyway, it's good. You didn't catch us at a bad time. I'll go grab him for you. There was some shuffling on the other end. He must not have gotten far because you could still hear him calling out, Cove, there's someone on the phone for you. After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's dad. Come on, bud. Lizzie just called just so she could talk to you.
or yeah.
Gina's on the other end listening too. Don't you want to say hi? It took a bit back and forth, though the conversation seemed one sided since you couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually, Cove took the phone from his dad. Hello? You opened your mouth, only for Mommy to catch your eye and shake her head softly. You frowned, but didn't say anything. Hey, it's Lizzie. Yeah, I know, Dad told me. Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. One stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away. I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again. Lizzie's eyes were downcast, her voice low. You could tell she felt uncomfortably apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove must have realized that too, because he sighed quietly. Okay, I guess I'm sorry too. A sense of release washed over everyone at the acceptance of the apology. Mom uncrossed her arms while Mommy's shoulders relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up, and he wondered if she thought that he'd refuse her apology. I mean, probably. Look at this guy. I mean, he's low key a little brat. He's traumatized, but he's still like he's a little brat. Dad can't get off the phone now. You couldn't see him, but it was obvious that Cove felt awkward about the situation. He had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back to your room if you want, but be sure to say goodbye to everyone first, though. Bye, Lizzie. Bye. Bye, Gina. You perked up as the sight of your name. Bye, Cove. With that said, Cove must have handed the phone to his dad and left, since Mr. Holden spoke up.
That's a relief.
All's well that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it. As Mom replied, Lizzie tugged on Mommy's hand to catch her attention. Can I go now, too? Sure, sweetie. Thank you so much for apologizing to Cove. Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded her agreement. Given permission to leave, Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mommy returned to the phone, taking it off the speaker. They continued talking to Mr. Holden. You can tell what about. You were glad that was the end of it all. Lizzie and Cove might not get along, and probably still won't, but they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mommy weren't upset either. I'm so overheated, but my fan's going, and I can't make it physically any colder. Everything was back to normal. With that thought, you retreated to your own room with a spring in your step. All right. How many saves are there? I'll save twice. Okay. Quit. Quit. Yes. Yes. Hello. So that was that. I'm gonna peace out before this thingy. You see that? Do you see that? Do you see it? There. It just stops. It'll just stop. It won't keep going once it hits 45 minutes. So I have to keep resetting it every like 30 minutes. That's when I try to find a stopping place with this. But it has a better audio for you. Yeah, you. So I'm gonna keep doing it. So let me restart it.